Witam serdecznie w kolejnym odcinku. Nadal jesteśmy w Irlandii. Idziemy z powrotem może do pubu porozmawiać. Zamieńmy słowo jeszcze z tym gościem.
Hey, Maguire.
What do you want to know?
Ale chyba nie ma nic tutaj nowego.
Do you know what this white powder is?
No?
What do you think this wire could be used for?
Stealing cars. There's only one problem.
The local policeman?
No. Nobody in Lochmarn has got a car.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Dobra, to wejdźmy do środka. Zobaczmy, co tutaj. Czy możemy ruszyć jakby historię do przodu. Może uda się w końcu zabrać ten ręcznik.
The man's arm lay across the towel, preventing me from moving it.
No, niestety nie.
Hello. Hello there. Let me introduce you to my pals.
We've already met. I want you to know you have my sympathy.
Oh, it's just terrible, awful. It's the worst news I heard all day. Let's top the bad news all right for this week and the next. The whole year? It's worse than that. It's the worst disaster in living memory. Isn't it the biggest calamity in the history of the village? I would say it's the biggest in the history of Ireland.
The most awesome disaster since mankind paddled out of the primal plop.
There's no beer.
What about Sean? Why aren't you out looking for him?
There's no point in launching an ill-equipped expedition to save the lad. In a life-or-death situation, preparation is essential. That's why I slipped in here. For a pint.
Trzeba będzie uratować panów z opresji.
Is a glass of beer more important than a man's life?
Were you talking to me?
To all of you. Sean Fitzgerald has met with God knows what, and all you can do is drink.
Sean has gone for a ride in a flash car, that's all. Why don't you calm down and join us?
I gotta go. The man's arm lay across the...
No nie da się tego zabrać, no.
I was about to reach for the pump when I came to my senses. A rash move like that in a strange country with strange customs could be my last. Excuse me. Yes, sir?
Nie mam o co go nawet zapytać.
I don't want anything.
Just give me a shout.
Hey! Hello there again, mister. What do you know about leprechauns, Doyle?
Leprechauns? Is it the little people you're talking about? Sure, and a cousin of mine was wed to one.
Oh, come on. Do you really expect me to believe that?
It's the truth, I'm telling you. She fell asleep on a fairy ring, see? When she woke up, there he was. A little fella, all in green.
Tell me more about your cousin and the leprechaun.
Oh, no.
Well, young Mary was speechless, especially when the leprechaun up and spoke to her. Be my bride, me darling, says he, and she'll never want for riches again. Okay, says she, and he slips a ring of daisies on her finger.
Amen.
So there you are, proof that the little people exist.
Well, that's no proof. All you have is her word for it.
Not so. The following spring, she had a little baby.
Did the leprechaun's promise come true?
What promise was that now?
That she'd never want for riches again.
Now, there's the strangest thing. She never did.
I thought you said she was claiming the social part.
Indeed, Mr. O'Brien.
But there's riches and riches. She told me, Pat, she says, that little darling boy is all the riches in the world to me.
No nie wiem, czy go coś tutaj pytać o te rzeczy, no bo w zasadzie pytałem.
Bye for now. Excuse me, Mr. O'Brien.
Hello there. What now?
O, tu są jakieś nowe rzeczy.
The boy told me Fitzgerald was driven away in the car that hit him.
Maguire is always spinning wild yarns. I don't know where he gets them from. Television, I expect, or comics. If I was you, I'd take what he says with a generous pinch of salt.
McGuire's tale about the car sounds quite plausible to me. He says the driver was dressed like a leprechaun.
That boy has a head full of fluffy toys.
Can you tell me more about the landlord?
Mick Leary? He's what you call a would-be sophisticate. The trouble is, his idea of sophistication extends as far as putting paper in the lavatory.
I never worked out why he did that. It's much too dark in there to read.
That's true. Have you ever run your hand over the back of the door? The graffiti is written in braille.
No i to by było na tyle. No i co dalej? Co dalej, kurczę?
Goodbye for now. Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
No tutaj nic nie mogę, no.
I don't want any...
Just give me a... Hey, where do you think you're going?
Excuse me?
No customers behind the bar. Ever. Get out.
No Jezus Maria. No nie wiem, no przeklikam wszystko, bo zaraz mnie tu coś trafi.
Excuse me?
Yes, sir?
Lecimy po kolei.
Does this tissue mean anything to you?
That's disgusting.
Uh-huh. I found it in the sewers.
What's the idea of waving it around in my face? You're worse than old Ron. Put it away, man.
Hey, bartender?
Landlord, if you don't mind.
Sorry. Shake my hand, why don't you?
Now, why should I do that? What have you got up your sleeve?
Nothing. Come on, just shake my hand.
Not just now, mister. I have to be careful on account of the health restrictions.
Aw, jeez. Does this...
I knew it. The minute you walked through the door, I knew you spelled trouble.
Now, just a minute.
It might be what you're used to in New York, but we don't use that stuff here.
Hey, it's plaster. I found it in the castle. Do you recognize this matchbook?
No, sir.
Do you recognize the name on this card?
No. Should I?
Nah, it was a long shot. Does this piece of wire mean anything to you?
Good God, man. Put it away.
What's the problem?
Don't play the innocent with me, mister. What you do with that wire is your own business, but don't drag me into it.
Do you recognize this man?
You already asked me that.
Does this false nose mean anything to you?
It's not Red Nose Day again, is it?
I don't know. But this is part of a clown's costume.
I know that. Good God Almighty. What do you take me for?
No i
Thanks.
nic. No i dalej nic.
It was an electric pump operated by pushing a small lever. I was about to reach for the pump when a rash move like... Somehow, I'd managed to drink the thick, sweet brew. I felt strangely compelled to order another, even though my every instinct warned me against it. Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
May I have another beer, please?
Certainly, sir. Same again?
Yeah, please. How is this stuff made?
That's the secret of the master brewer, sir. Each barrel is lovingly manhandled in time-honoured fashion, suspended on skillfully tied ropes of the finest hemp, lowered into the cellar utilising the forces of original gravity, like manna from heaven. I'm sorry, but the pump appears to be broken.
I could fix it for you.
I don't think so. This is a job for a professional electrician. Oh well, at least the glass washer is still working. It's not my dear, is it?
It just so happens I'm an electrician. Check out my credentials.
Well, now, isn't that marvellous? Ha, here's a house bedevilled with faulty wiring of a wayward nature. Here's you, an electric man, with a little plastic card to prove it. I still want to see what you can do before I let you touch me beer pumps. You can make a start on the glass washer.
No, coś się ruszyło w końcu.
And when you finish that, will you take a look at the pumps?
Żaden problem.
It was an electrical plug attached to the glass washer.
Wytkniemy tam drut i będzie dobrze.
I used all my knowledge of electrical engineering to examine the plug. Seemed fine to me.
Jak to na sprawną? Co jest? Dawać tego druta tam.
I replaced the fuse with a piece of wire. I knew it was dangerous, but I was desperate enough to disregard everything I knew about standard safety precautions. Excuse me, Mr. Leary. I fixed your glass washer, no problem.
Bingo! And a blessing to all the saints. A free half-pint to that man, on the house. Now, could you take a look at the beer pumps?
Well, I guess so, but I'm not making any promises.
If you can't fix them, I'll have a riot on my hands.
The pumps are in the cellar, right?
That's right. You'll find a flashlight down there somewhere.
Super. Dobra, ale ja potrzebuję ten cholerny ręcznik. Jak mogę zabrać?
As the man raised his arm to drink, I snatched the towel away.
No teraz się dało, no coś niesamowitego. Dobra, idziemy na dół do piwnicy.
What a dumb place to store a flashlight. A dark cellar. The only way I was going to find anything down there was to feel around.
No fajnie.
I pushed the lever and heard the grating of metal, but nothing appeared to happen. I lifted the trap door, and an overpowering smell of stale beer rose from the cellar below. I looked down on a stone-tiled floor, way too far to jump.
Excuse me.
There was a nasty feeling in my guts I usually associated with light opera. It was Khan. What's the problem?
Did you see what happened here a few minutes ago?
What was that?
A man was involved in an unfortunate accident.
I didn't see anything.
What about the boy?
He doesn't know anything either. The kid, well, you know how it is in these rural communities. Not enough genes to go round. I prayed McGuire had the sense to keep his mouth shut. Was the guy hurt bad?
He's been taken care of, but he thinks he dropped a small parcel. You didn't happen to find it, did you?
If I had, I would have taken it to the police.
Of course. Thank you.
No i fajnie. No i fajnie, a to oznacza, że paczka jest gdzieś. Właściwie to wiadomo gdzie. Bo nie po to on się pojawił w momencie, gdy otwierałem klapę od piwnicy, prawda? Żeby tak sobie wpadł pogadać.
Then I noticed a flash of light. Something sparkling beneath the open trap door. It was Peagram's gem, all right. A large, uncut blue stone. As I held it aloft, I realized the fascination it could command. I guess I was already under its spell.
Did you find it?
What?
Whatever you was looking for.
Yeah. Listen, McGuire. I want you to keep this to yourself.
No problemo. Just chuck us up a crate of lager.
No way, you're not old enough.
We can sell it and make some cash.
Forget it, kid. I couldn't betray Mr. Leary's trust.
I could, for sure. That old misery guts deserves it.
If you want to do me a favor, keep a lookout for that guy in the suit.
Okay. But it'll cost you a packet of chips.
Oh, and shout if you see that Ferrari. I searched the trash, but there was nothing useful there.
Dobra, to w sumie nic tutaj nie zrobię tak naprawdę.
It was a calendar with a faded photograph of a prize-winning carp.
No bo cóż tu można zrobić? Moczymy ręcznik.
The slow drip of water barely dampened the towel.
Jak to ledwo? Odkręć to.
The faucet creaked,
No.
coughed, and spewed out a stream of rusty-colored water.
O to chodzi. I za pazuchę.
I held the towel under the faucet and soaked it with water. I shut off the faucet as tight as I could, but it kept on dripping.
Także lecimy teraz do zamku z tym ręcznikiem. Latarka też się pewnie przyda, jak już się dostaniemy do środka. No i klejnocik mamy przy okazji, też fajnie.
The trickle of water was quickly absorbed by the plaster. I eased the solid piece of plaster from the sand. Underneath, it had formed a perfect copy of the statue. The hardened plaster cast fitted snugly into the 5 matching sockets. There was a soft thud, then silence.
No i rewelacja. Po latarkę weź. No.
So, where did you stay last night?
At McDevitt's. I got to drinking with Doyle and a couple of the guys.
That explains why you look so ill today. Did you get any sleep at all?
Not much. I had to share the room with another guy.
Did he snore?
Hardly. He was dead,
And you say Pigram has disappeared?
without a trace. But my visit wasn't a complete waste of time.
Pigram's gem?
The Templar's gem. Whoever Jacques Marquet is, he's in for a disappointment.
Jacques Marquet?
He's the guy who should have collected the gem from Fitzgerald.
What are your plans?
I want to find out who, what, or where Montfaucon was. All I've got to go by is the name and a picture of a hanged man. Do you want to look after the gem?
No, Georges. I'd be too tempted to sell it.
Look, Nico, a handful of plaster.
Yeah. Why is it that men never really grow up?
What's your problem, sister?
Your pockets stuffed with useless junk like little boys.
You never know when useless junk might come in handy. Let's take another look at the manuscript. That's the gem that Pegram found in Lochmarn. That's the tripod in the Croon Museum.
Dobra, no to
Can't
nic.
sit here all day, much as I'd like to.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lopinot at the Croon Museum. And why don't you see if Rosso has heard anything?
Okay. Anything else I can do for you while I'm out? Shopping, a trip to the laundromat?
Just take care of yourself.
Dobra, to co? Odwiedzimy chyba pana tego policjanta może. Na początek.
Excuse me.
Ah, Monsieur Stobart, n'est-ce pas?
That's correct. You remember me.
The retention of such data is part of my duty as a gendarme. That is how crime is fought, through attention to detail, not intuition.
Yes, sure.
Fajnie, fajnie. O co by zapytać?
I really did see the clown. He ran into the alley across the street.
Did you follow him?
That's your job, not mine.
An armed chase? Through the streets of Paris? That's not our style, monsieur. Inspector Rosso may be unorthodox, but he's not crazy.
Is Rosso here?
Yes, he is. You wish to speak to him?
No, za chwilę
Not
pogadamy.
really. Is Rosso here?
Jejku, co ja klikam.
Not really. Do you know a man named Khan? He's a shifty-looking guy with a scar on his left cheek.
No, monsieur. Has this man any connection with the bombing of the cafe?
Yes. I believe Khan was the name he used when he hired the clown costume. I'd like to report an assault.
Yes, monsieur? Where is the victim?
I'm the victim. I've been harassed by a pair of thugs.
I see. And where did this alleged assault take place?
Outside the Hotel Ubu. They stopped me as I was leaving and went through my pockets.
Could you describe the suspects, monsieur?
One looked like a gorilla, and the other looked like a weasel. Their names are Flap and Guido.
Bon. I'll get them this time.
What are you going to do about Flap and Guido, Sergeant?
I'm going to bust them, monsieur. For years I have been hoping to pin something on that pair. Now's my chance. I'll show them, and the inspector.
Thanks, Sergeant. Thanks for taking me seriously.
I'm only doing my duty, monsieur.
Have you heard of a man called Marquet?
Yes. He used to be known as the Mole of Montmartre. I heard he's been hospitalized, probably by one of his rivals.
Which hospital was Marquet taken to?
The Hagenmeyer Clinic, in the Avenue des Hérissons.
Why was Marquet known as the Mole of Montmartre?
Because he lived in Montmartre, I suppose.
Yeah, but why the mole?
I don't know. Maybe he ruined people's lawns.
Dobra, pogadajmy z Rosso.
Yes, he is. You wish to speak to him?
Yes, I do.
One moment, monsieur. Stobart is here to see you, monsieur.
Did he say what it was about?
No, monsieur.
Very well.
Hi, Inspector. Remember me?
But of course, Mr. Stobart. My mind is a well-ordered faculty. A mental classification system that's the envy of the Bibliothèque Nationale. No tricks, mark you, monsieur. Just exercise. Just as our muscles waste through inactivity, so our minds decay. But there is no need. If only people would learn to exercise their wits daily.
If he was trying to impress me, it worked. He was pompous and patronizing, but he had style.
Eh bien, if you called about the bombing, you're too late. Investigations have been closed.
But
I've been taken off the case.
what about the murderer, the dead guy?
It is out of my hands.
Dobra, co pytamy po kolei, nie? Lecimy.
What was that psycho-detective business you did in the cafe?
It is my theory that the passions evoked in violent crimes create ripples in the ether, invisible to all but the possessor of a highly developed and receptive mind.
I'm impressed. Can you bend spoons, too?
I didn't think a man of your obvious intelligence would stoop to mockery.
I'm not mocking. I've had personal experience of the power of the mind. I used to get ignored at parties until I read a book that changed my life.
Really? What was it called?
Hypnotism for Fun and Profit. He looked at me as if I'd farted at a funeral.
The power of mesmerism is a rare gift, not a party trick.
Dobra, nam. Hipnoza.
Did you find out the ID of the guy who was killed in the explosion?
I already knew who he was.
I heard that the bomb victim's name was Plantar.
Your sources are reliable.
He was a big shot at the Treasury, wasn't he? Maybe that's why you've been taken off the case.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I cannot comment.
Do you know a pair of thugs called Flap and Guido?
I have known those two since they graduated from special school. Flap is a nasty piece of work, but Guido is the real brains of the partnership. Where did you hear of them?
I met them out front of the Hotel Ubu. Don't you want to know what I found out about the killer?
I told you, monsieur, the case is closed. I have washed my hands of the whole affair.
Then I'll have to continue my investigations without your help.
No. You must forget the business of the clown completely. Go back to being an ordinary tourist, Stobart.
Have you heard of Professor Pegram, the archaeologist?
Molly Pigram? The second son of Lord Barclay Pigram?
I don't know. I only read about him in a magazine.
So much for the efficacy of rehabilitation. What has he done this time?
He made an important archaeological find in Ireland. Do you know Pegram well?
I have connections with the family, but I wouldn't say I knew him at all.
Is his name really Molly?
Of course not. That was the nickname he was given at school. All his friends and acquaintances know him as Molly.
Ever heard of a guy called Marquet? Jacques Marquet?
Marquet? I know the name well. He has a record for suspected blackmail, kidnapping, arson, and art theft.
An all-rounder, huh? How come he's on the loose?
His bravado is matched only by the courtroom skills of his attorney.
You're not going to try any of that psychic interrogation on me, are you?
Do you find the thought of my probing distasteful?
Let's just say I'd rather you didn't. I've got more doubts than doubting Thomas when it comes to mysticism.
Too bad. I think you would make an interesting subject under controlled regression.
The day I let anyone mess with my mind hasn't dawned yet.
Dobra,
So long, Inspector.
to pogadaliśmy sobie z gościem. Będziemy musieli się wybrać teraz do muzeum. Ale to już w następnym odcinku, a ja sobie sejwuję i żegnam się z wami do następnego. Cześć.